Hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. And hello again. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the studio. Welcome to the show. And of course, last but definitely not least, welcome to the best day of the week. The standard working week, that is, obviously. And so, here we all are again. You lot on that side of the screen and me on this side of the screen, trapped inside your telly for the next quarter of an hour. Oh well, never mind. As we all know, that French bird told us that there's no point in crying over spilt milk, and she's right. This is the situation I find myself in, trapped inside a small box. But I'm not going to cry and whinge about it, because that would be a waste of time. Crying won't get me out of my box sooner, it'll just make my eyes red, and it'll make my nose runny. And then I'll have to spend half the lesson blowing my nose, and that's not a good use of our time. Not when we should be learning about English things. So, enough of the complaints. Let's get on with today's lesson. For, as we all know, today is Friday, and that means that our favourite day has arrived. We've been waiting for, well, a week. But now that week has come to an end, and Friday is here with us again. Friday, with all that it holds, all of those promises of a fantastic time. So, we all know that the sooner we get started, the sooner we get finished, and the sooner we get finished, the sooner we get out of the door and start getting our chores out of the way. Then, after that, it's time for us to start getting ready for Friday. Is it going to be a wild Friday night? Is it going to be a best shoes, glad rags, meeting friends and going out together to have fun? Or is it going to be a relaxing night in, watching a film or something like that? I don't know. You do. But what we both know is that we've got to get started so that we can finish in time for the weekend to begin. So, let's make a move. All right, so what were we looking at yesterday? Ah, yes, that's right. We had another look at the English we use to talk about the future. We saw that we use will plus the infinitive without to talk about things which we think will happen in the future. We saw the negative of will, which is just will plus not, or the abbreviated form, won't. And, of course, we all remember that the form of will is incredibly easy to use. It's will for all the subjects. Easy peasy, lemon curd. All right, now, we also touched on the fact that we don't use will when we're talking about an event which is planned. When we're talking about something which we arranged, we don't use will. We use going to or the present continuous. Okay, so let's continue. Let's go back to will. When we offer to do something or decide to do something, the offer and the decision are being made at the time of speaking. So, because the offer and the decision are spontaneous, we use will. If something was decided before, then we don't use will. We either use going to or we use the present continuous. Think about a situation where someone goes into a travel agent. This customer talks to someone about going on holiday, and the travel agent asks the customer various questions about where they want to go, when they want to go, how they want to go, etc., etc. Now, imagine that the travel agent asked the customer how they'd like or how they'd prefer to travel to their destination. Presumably, there is more than one possibility. So, how would you like to get to Taormina? I'm not sure. What are the possibilities? Well, you could travel there by boat or by train. You could drive, or you could buy a coach ticket and go by coach. Or you could fly. Well, I don't want to drive that far, and getting on a coach would take a long time. Also, if I go by boat, I have to get to a port first. What would you recommend? Well, train travel is very romantic, but it's also very expensive. I think the cheapest and also the fastest option is to go by plane. Yes, that sounds like the best idea to me. I'll fly. I'll go by plane. So, as we can see in that conversation, the customer made the decision on how to travel there then, at the time of speaking, it wasn't a planned decision. The customer decided at the time of speaking, and so the correct form to use is will. Now, see what happens when the customer tells his friend about his upcoming trip. Hi, Gerald. Long time no see. Hi, Fred. Yeah, it's been ages since I last saw you. How are you? I'm fine, thanks. What about you? Yeah, I'm doing all right. I've just got a new job and I'm working pretty hard at the moment. What about you? I've just been to the travel agents. I'm going on holiday next week. Oh, that's nice. Where are you going? Somewhere nice, I hope. Yeah, hopefully. Taormina. I'm flying there next Monday and then I'm going to fly back 2 weeks on Monday. All right, 2 weeks in Taormina. That'll be fun. Remember to send me a postcard. See you later. Bye. Bye, Gerald. So there, in that conversation, we can see that when Fred told Gerald about his holiday, he changed the way he spoke about it, didn't he? When he was in the travel agents, when he decided there and then how he was going to travel to Taormina, he used will, because the decision on how to travel was made at the time of speaking. When Fred is talking to Gerald, however, he uses the present continuous, and then he uses going to. Why? Yes, that's right. Now the decision isn't spontaneous. Now he's talking about a plan, something that he decided on in the past. So now he has to use either going to or the present continuous, or, as we saw here, both. All right, now let's just think about the form of going to. How do we use it? Can anyone remember? So, when we're using going to talk about future plans, we have to remember that we use going to with the verb to be. So, that means that we have to conjugate the verb to be and then add going to. So, who remembers how we conjugate the verb to be? I know, it's simple, isn't it? Yes, but let's see it, just to make sure. I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, you are, they are. All right, well, as I said, that's simple, isn't it? Yes, so all we have to do is remember that we can't just pick a subject and then add going to. No, we have to conjugate the verb to be correctly before we can put going to. And then, after we've correctly conjugated the verb to be and added going to, then what? Well, then we add the main verb that we'd like to use in the sentence we're making. And what form does that verb have to be in? Yes, that's right. The main verb follows going to and it's in the infinitive without to. Now, obviously it's without to. We've got a to in the going to bit, so it'd be a bit silly if we had to. All right, so what about the present continuous? Well, what about it? How do we make it? Oh, come on! You all know the answer to that one. Verb to be, correctly conjugated, and then a verb in the ing form. That's it. Okay. And what about the negative forms of those two? Well, with the present continuous, we add the adverb not between the correctly conjugated form of the verb to be and the main verb in the ing form. And for going to? Well, there we add the adverb not between the correctly conjugated form of the verb to be and going to. Like this. I'm not playing tennis tomorrow. You're not, you aren't going to the dentist on Friday. He's not, he isn't staying in tonight. He's going out. She's not, she isn't going out this weekend. She's grounded. So, that was simple enough, wasn't it? Yes, and that means that we just need to look at one more form, doesn't it? Yes, the question form. So, we all know how to ask questions with the present continuous, don't we? Of course we do. Start with the correctly conjugated form of the verb to be, am for the first person singular, are for the second person singular and all the plural forms, and is for the third person singular. Then add the correct subject or subject pronoun. I, you, Mr. T, the Nolans, Dave, Dee, Dozy, Beaky, Mick and Titch, or whoever. Then we follow with the main verb in the ing form. That's it. You know it and I know it. We all know it. All right. Well, what about asking questions with going to? Well, that's simple too. Once again, what do we start with? Yes, the correctly conjugated form of the verb to be. And then? Well, then we follow with the subject or subject pronoun. And then what? Well, after going to, we add the main verb in the infinitive, without to. I told you it was simple. Are you playing tennis tomorrow? Are you going to buy him a birthday present? Is she going to be at the pub tonight? Are we going on holiday this month? So, there's nothing difficult there, is there? No. There's certainly nothing we can't handle, is there? No. All right. So, we know how to make sentences positive, negative, and also questions with both the present continuous and going to. So let's just think again about where and when we use those two, shall we? If we use the present continuous to talk about the future, then that means that there is a plan. We arrange to do something. The same is true of going to. When we use these two, we know that something is planned. I'm going to a concert, I've already got the tickets. I'm playing squash on Friday, I just spoke to my squash partner and we agreed to play together on Friday morning. We don't use the present simple for plans and arrangements, but we do use the present simple to talk about things in the future, things like timetables and schedules. Now with going to, we can also express a prediction we think is sure to happen. If we can see evidence or proof, something which tells us that something is going to happen. Do you all remember that photo of the plane which crashed in Taiwan a few years ago? Yes? Yes, this one. All right, so in that picture, we've got the plane and a car on a motorway. Now, because the pilots and the people in the plane can see the situation they're in, they can use going to talk about something which is 100% certain prediction. Here, they can see what is going to happen. So they are probably saying, we're going to crash. The driver of the car can also see what's going to happen, and so the driver of the car is also probably saying, that plane is going to crash. It's the same with the weather. Normally someone comes on TV every morning and tells us what to expect from the weather today and in the next few days. But as I'm sure you've noticed, these people are comedians. They're not really weather people. These people get paid to tell us things which make people laugh. They tell us that it's not going to rain and then we all laugh later on when we get wet. These people tell us that the sun is shining and we all laugh when we look out of the window and see that it's snowing. So remember, the people who stand in front of a map of Hungary talking about what to expect from the weather, they're stand-up comedians practicing for their comedy shows. The only time these people get the weather right is when they're relating what happened yesterday. All right, now forget about the weather clowns and think about what we normally do with weather. We forecast. And the verb to forecast just means that we say what we think will happen. We often see this verb or the noun a forecast with weather and financial trends. A synonym for forecast could be to predict, or perhaps more realistically, to guess. And that's what we're doing. We're guessing what's going to happen because in most cases we can't tell what's going to happen, can we? No. But in some cases we can. In some cases we can see evidence, proof, something which shows us what to expect. And just like the pilots, passengers and that car driver in Taiwan, in these situations we use going to. We can see the black clouds above our heads and we know that black clouds mean a rainstorm. So we say it's going to rain. If we have to be at work at 8:30 a.m. and we know that it takes 10 minutes to get to work, then if the time is 8:21, we can predict with certainty that we're going to be late for work. But we don't have to only use this when we're talking about something negative, like crashing a plane or getting wet or being late for work. We can use going to talk about a certain prediction with anything. Yes, that's right. The car is going to turn right. So it doesn't all have to be gloom and doom and doom and gloom. If we can see that a prediction is certain, we can use going to. We can see that something's going to happen. This is certain, not like the forecast we hear from comedians on the weather program. This is certain. And something else which is certain is this. It's time for us to go. Yes, our time's up and it's time for us to head out of the door, finish our chores, and then it's time for us to start getting ready for the evening. Shower, shampoo, soap, wash and scrub. And then when we're clean, out of the shower, dry ourselves off, and then that vital element, antiperspirant, yes, bung it on. Make sure that you don't smell like a homeless dinosaur's armpit later on. And then, well, it's up to you. Just remember to have a good time, that's all. I'll see you all after the weekend, and remember, if you've got some spare time, check out the website. You all know the address, don't you? www.mediaclick.hu. See you all on Monday. Have fun. See you later. Bye.